Do you ever feel like no matter how much you're practicing, whether you're training with a vocal coach, whether you're doing online music courses, reading ebooks, watching YouTube videos, putting in all of this effort, all of this energy, all of this time, but you feel like your voice still isn't improving? Your voice isn't changing. In this video, I'm going to talk about why I typically see this happen. My name's Kate. I am a classically trained singer who's been singing formally for over 30 years. I'm a vocal coach, and I help people to go through different issues that they're having with their voice, to untangle them, and then to find and sing with their authentic voice. So imagine that you are a runner. You've been running for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. You run a 5K 3 days a week around your neighborhood. Some days you do 7 kilometers, some days you do 10, and you feel confident that you're ready now to embark on your first marathon. So you hire a running coach. And what's the first thing the running coach does? They're going to watch you run. Then they're going to say, okay, this is your form. This is what your form needs to be. This is your cadence. This is what your cadence is going to need to be for a marathon. When your feet hit the pavement, you're kind of pushing down too hard on your heels. We're going to work on that. Your posture is a little bit leaning too back. We're going to lean you a little bit forward, but keep your core engaged. They're going to go through all of the things that they see that are going to impede you in this marathon. They're going to look at all of the things that are not only going to get in the way of you performing in the marathon, but that are going to get in the way of you running long term. They're going to help you optimize the way that you run so that you can run in the long term without any problems, without any injuries, with a lot of stamina, and you're going to become a better runner. But first, you have to unlearn the bad habits that you've picked up along the way. And a lot of them are habits that you don't even realize, that you don't even pay attention to. It could be about the way that you breathe when you run as well. This is my analogy for the voice. But there's a difference here. It's different than singing in a sense because everything is pretty tangible, right? Everything is physical. You have physical feedback for everything that you're doing. You can take videos of yourself running and watch your form. You can pay attention to the way that it feels when your heels hit the pavement. You can get some kind of feedback for your posture and pay attention to those things. But it will still be extremely difficult to let go of the old habits. For a certain period of time, as you're letting go of the old habits and you're learning new habits, you're going to feel like you don't know how to run anymore. You might feel like you're not motivated to get up, put on your shoes, and step outside again. It's a very kind of vulnerable state when you're deconstructing something that you think you know really well, or that you know well enough, let's say. It's not perfect. There's room for improvement. That's why you hired the coach. But there's more things going on than you thought about that are not optimizing the way that you run. And so for a time, you feel like you've lost that ability in some sense. Now, I talked about in a video what happened to me when I learned that I was not singing the right way after so many decades. So my vocal coach was like, okay, we're going to deconstruct your voice, and then we're going to rebuild it from the foundations. We're going to uncover your authentic voice. We're going to shed things, and then we're going to discover what's lying underneath. This is what you want to do as a singer. It's not about deconstructing your voice and then reconstructing it, okay? You're not constructing it. In a way, you're just allowing it to be. You're allowing it to surface. You're allowing it to show up when you stop doing the things that are getting in your way. But as a singer, this is very hard because there are so many things about the voice that are abstract. Of course, there are things we can focus on, our posture, our breathing, the position of our jaw, things that we get a physical feedback for. We can go in the mirror and look at how is my face shaped when I'm singing this vowel? Does my tongue touch the tip of my bottom teeth? There's a certain amount of physical things that can give you feedback that you can look at, that you can kind of feel if you're doing right or wrong. But even that can be difficult for a singer to really get into your body. It can be hard to tell those little micro differences sometimes between doing it in a way that's going to be healthy for you, that's going to uncover that authentic voice, and doing it in a way that is still constricting you in some way. Because the biggest thing that's getting in the way is that there are things that are constricting you. There are constructions around your voice, in a sense, that are containing it. It's like your voice is in a kind of cage. It's not free. It's not set free. It is terrifying to set it free because first you have to take away the cage. I was reading just yesterday about this psychological experiment that they did with dogs. At some point, they had a dog in a cage and they were giving shocks to the bottom of the floor of the cage on one side. And so the dog would move away from that side. And then the researchers switched sides. So now the other side of the cage was getting shocks. So the dog moved over. And then they did something terrible, even more terrible. They just put shocks wherever they wanted. So intermittently, it would shock any point in the cage. And the dog just gave up. It just lied down and it stayed in the cage and it didn't move. It was like, okay, I'm getting used to this pain. I'm getting used to being surprised by it. I'm getting used to the inconsistency. We get used to the inconsistency of our voices too, when we're not functioning as our authentic voice with our authentic instrument. Everything kind of like really lined up, no tension, no problems, knowing what you're going to expect. You're dealing with this inconsistency. You're in this kind of cage of your own voice. And in a way, you can just kind of lie down and be like, okay, I don't really know what's going on, but I'm just going to deal with it. I'm just going to accept what's coming, these shocks. And then the researchers did something else. They opened the cage door. And you would think this dog is going to fly out of there. But no, the dog just stayed. He didn't even want to move. His new normal was these intermittent shocks all over the place, and he was afraid to leave his cage. He had grown accustomed to this kind of maltreatment. It's not the perfect analogy for what you can be going through as a singer, but in a way there's something in there that's significant. Sometimes we prefer to hold on to our bad habits and sing the same way, to have it feel the same way, to try things, but to try it with the setup that we're used to. And then we wonder why things are not changing, why we're still in this cage. With your voice, you have to walk out of the cage. If you've decided to train with a coach, or if you've decided to embark on some kind of vocal journey, whether you're teaching yourself, you're watching videos, you're taking notes, you're reading, you're figuring things out, you have to step out of the cage that you've built for your voice, this cage that you've built for yourself of what you're supposed to sound like, of what singing is supposed to feel like. You have to let all of that go. In the interim of discovering your authentic voice, you are going to probably feel like in some way you're losing your ability to sing. It's very intense, but it's still there. What you're losing is all of the bad habits, all of the tension, all of the posture issues, all of the placement issues. You're going to be losing all of that. So when you're trying new exercises, when you're trying a new method, when you are trying to improve your voice, what you need to do is to let go of what you know. And it sounds easy, but it's really hard. So you have to expect that in that process of letting go, your voice will feel and sound foreign to you. It's going to be like, I'm used to singing like in a way that's full strength or full power, or I'm trying to project as much as I can, or I'm trying to finish every single line perfectly, or I'm trying to sound like I'm going to perform tomorrow. And I'm just going to hold on to what I already have, and I'll try to incrementally add in some new techniques here, but that's not it. You have to kind of allow things to drop off, and you have to take the time that it takes to actually understand, this is where it's supposed to be. This feels right. If I sing it this way, with this physical setup and this internal mental setup, this will allow me to expand my range without tension. This will allow me to go through the passaggio. This will allow me to sing with more control, with more color, with more vibrato, with more resonance. But first, a little secret for you guys is you should focus on this kind of very little voice, not projecting too much, not sounding too big, just focusing on the feeling in your body. Does everything feel kind of relaxed? Does singing feel in a way a little bit easier? You know, sometimes you're in the car, you put on a song, and you're just singing along. And you're not singing like at your full voice because you're in the car. And it feels really easy in some ways. You're not like thinking about your technique. You're not like, oh my gosh, I have to sound perfect. I'm like, all of this pressure is on me. You're just enjoying singing. You're in the car. That kind of little voice is sometimes, not for everybody, but sometimes that kind of voice is the foundation for your authentic voice. So that is, how do you take that smaller feeling voice and expand it into full resonance, into full projection, into full range? It's starting with that little seed. So what you need to do is shed everything, find the seed, and then from there, your voice will blossom. But as my favorite vocal coach told me once, when a flower blooms, it simultaneously falls apart. So to allow your voice to blossom, you have to kind of like shed the old petals. You have to shed what's not serving you and allow it that space to grow again. So it can feel very daunting. It can feel very uncomfortable. If you're working with a coach, you might feel self-conscious because we always want to kind of perform, you know, even if we're with a coach and we know that this person's there to help us. Come back to the story of our runner. Our runner wants to show his trainer that he's a great runner and that he can do this marathon, but he's got to be vulnerable. He's got to show the trainer what his weaknesses are so that the trainer can find them and help him develop around those weaknesses. So the trainer can actually see his strengths, his natural strengths, shining through and reinforce them. So we all have that. Even if you have certain techniques that aren't working for you, there are some natural strengths, some things that come naturally for you as a singer. And so if you allow the rest of it to shed away, then the person that you're working with is able to see, this is kind of simple for them. They've kind of just got this. So let's build on that. Let's exploit that potential. And here we're going to see where this weakness is and we're going to build that pillar. We're going to build the foundation from there. And this is the method that I use when I'm teaching people. So I'm going to go in, listen, say, what's going on here? Okay, what do we need to focus on first? Usually it's going to be very, very fundamental. Let's go into breathing. Let's go into resonance. And it takes time because that's the kind of foundation, as I mentioned in another video, for everything else. Like every problem that you have with your voice is related to the fundamentals not being properly erected. So again, thinking of pillars on a building, like if your pillar is crooked or if it's broken or if it's made of another material, we got to fix that. So that's what I mean. So let me know if this makes sense for you guys. I hope that this is something that will inspire you to be more vulnerable when you are on this journey with your voice. Be more vulnerable. Allow yourself to sound different. Allow yourself to try new things. Allow your voice to feel a little bit lighter, a little bit weaker. Try and find the center of your voice. And this is something that I can help you guys. If anybody wants to work with me, I am looking for 5 more students in my roster. It's very limited. And we are going to go through things the way that I'm discussing here and build your voice up from that foundation. We're going to uncover the authentic voice, allow it to surface, and round everything out. So thank you guys so much. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that you'd like to learn about here, if you have any questions about what I just said or anything else. Thank you so much.